News has released a rather very interesting insight report that tells you exactly how much the Indiana Fever's social media engagements are actually monetarily worth, either on X or YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, whatever. I mean, all these posts have a monetary value to them based on engagement.
An insight report just dropped that finally puts hard numbers on what fans argued about all season. How much social media engagement translates into real money. Every like, comment, share, and view on X, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube can be converted into a dollar figure. Posts aren't just vibes, they're inventory with price tags attached. When you line up the teams and measure the output, one franchise didn't merely edge past the field, it blew the doors off. The findings translate attention into cash, and you see the scale. The debate shifts from feelings to facts and from hunches to receipts. The Indiana Fever's social media presence was valued at $55 million. Read that again, $55 million. And second place isn't even in the same neighborhood. Forbes amplified the report, and the reactions were predictable.
For anyone questioning the Caitlin Clark effect, we now have people wanting to watch golf because of her.
Hand-waving, goalpost moving, and people suddenly allergic to data. But numbers don't pick sides. While timelines argued about who really matters most in the WNBA, the scoreboard updated in real time and settled it decisively. This isn't about hype or favoritism, it's a price tag attached to attention. When value stacks that high, excuses collapse. The gap isn't a narrative, it's math staring back at everyone today. If you've been watching closely, none of this is a surprise. Caitlin Clark moves the needle in ways this league has never seen, full stop. Fever fans know it, her college fans know it, and anyone tracking trends could feel the shift. Pushback came from the old guard, the folks insisting nothing fundamental had changed or trying to explain the surge away. That denial collapses under weight this heavy. Fans aren't buying tickets to a logo, they're showing up for a star. And when a star draws an audience, support spills across the roster, amplifying the organization's relevance on and off.
If you're a Caitlin Clark fan, if you're an Indiana Fever fan, this is something you already know. However,
Here's what gives this punch its power. This isn't a hot take or a fan-made hype thread. It's a study with a repeatable methodology. STN Digital teamed with Zoom Analytics to track more than 20,000 pieces of content across the season. They covered Instagram, X, Facebook, and YouTube, tallied impressions and engagements, and translated that attention into what advertisers would pay to buy comparable reach. In other words, the report converts clout into currency. Stack those receipts across the league, and the pattern is undeniable. The teams that command attention built value, and one team towered over everyone else. Posts aren't trinkets, they're assets. The valuation makes that crystal clear. The Fever's total is a little over 5 times higher than the next WNBA team. 5 times higher. That's not a photo finish, that's a blowout. For anyone insisting social is just noise, this is the bottom line rebuttal. When attention clusters around a player, value radiates to the organization. Merch, sponsors, broadcasts, everything. The audience follows star power and the ledger catches up. The more people care, the more every post compounds, and the more the enterprise benefits. Attention is the fuel. Conversion is the engine turning it into money.
And then I was like, eventually as senior year kind of went on, I was like, this just needs to be the end. Like, what is there more for me to do here? Like, it's time for me to
Zoom in on the standings, and the gap gets even louder. Second place belongs to the Dallas Wings at $8.61 million. Do the math. The space between first and second clears $46 million. That's not a step behind, that's another highway. It stops feeling like a race and starts reading like two industries sharing a logo. The Fever aren't merely ahead, they're operating at a scale that forces the conversation to shift from who's best to how do you close something like this? Until others unlock gravity, the table is tilted, and the feed keeps tilting. For now. To be clear, Dallas had a fantastic year online. Engagement rose 55%, Social value climbed 34%, and the output reflects real progress. Third place went to the Las Vegas Aces at $7.64 million, which tracks for a modern dynasty, championship pedigree, star names, sustained relevance. Fourth was the New York Liberty at $7.5 million, perfectly logical for a franchise in the country's biggest media market. Those are strong results by any standard. They just look small, sitting next to a giant. That's the point. The story isn't that others failed, it's that one team exploded. The surprise for many landed at fifth, the Chicago Sky at $6.35 million. All season, the discourse framed multiple rookies as equally transformative, splitting credit for the surge. The social value tells a colder story. There's a $48.69 million gap between the Fever and the Sky. That isn't a rounding error or a narrative you can massage. That's a gulf measured in outcomes, impressions, engagements, and advertiser equivalents. If growth were truly distributed, the top tier would be tightly clustered. It isn't. One player and one team are operating in a different stratosphere of attention.
Real money is old money. I'm telling you, the real money is old money. And she's there being around old.
Context helps. Sensing swelling interest around the WNBA, STN Digital and Zoom built a league-wide social rankings and insights report to quantify what everyone felt online. The analysis covers the 2025 season and isolates which teams and which pieces of content generated the most engagement, the most impressions, and the highest estimated media value. Think of it as a box score for attention, not who played well on the court, but who dominated the feed and by how much. Grade those metrics across the league and a single profile towers, forcing a reassessment of what actually drives growth in this moment. Another key detail: the Fever didn't throttle down when the schedule stopped. They kept posting, kept feeding a hungry audience, kept compounding momentum. When you house a generator like Caitlin Clark, you don't coast, you compound. That's smart business. Give people highlights, behind the scenes, personality beats, and micro moments that travel. If the demand exists, supply it. Teams that treat social as a side project get side project returns. Teams that treat it like the engine of modern fandom cash the dividend every day. The Fever acted accordingly, and the numbers reflect a discipline others now have to match. That rigor separates leaders, period.
I think people are talking about Caitlin. And you know, projecting, you know, whatever they.
For precision, the measured window runs from May 16th through September 11th, regular season parameters. Within that span, the Fever stacked up 38.73 million engagements and 1.17 billion impressions. Billion with a B. Put it next to other pro teams and you realize how outsized that is. Many established organizations don't see that total across an entire year, on all platforms combined. The WNBA has fought for mainstream oxygen for decades. This is what a genuine inflection looks like. Scale changes narratives, and the scoreboard of attention now blares loud enough for anyone to hear very clearly. One stat reads like a cheat code. The Fever had a single YouTube video valued at more than $750,000 in equivalent ad exposure. One video, not a series or a months-long campaign. A solitary upload worth more than what some franchises create across an entire season online. That's the kind of metric that melts a marketing deck. You don't hit it unless your audience watches end-to-end, shares, comments, and returns for more. It isn't luck, it's gravitational pull, and it puts the gap in stark relief. It signals durable demand, not fleeting curiosity from audiences.
You know, like I said, I thought it would feel kind of long and drag a little bit, but it goes way quicker than you think. But that rest aspect for myself.
It's worth pausing on how the math works. The study leans on a social value metric. Take organic performance, then calculate what it would cost to buy the same reach and engagement through paid media. That conversion turns soft influence into hard currency. So when the Fever are clocked at $55 million in social value, it means a brand would need to lay out roughly that much to purchase comparable exposure. The Fever got it organically by publishing what people wanted to see. That isn't just clout, that's efficiency. It's leverage that compounds across campaigns, quarters, and seasons for sponsors. This is why the growth is evenly shared storyline collapses. If multiple teams or multiple stars were distributing gains equally, the top tier would be tight. It isn't. One team sits 5 times higher than second place. That's not parity, that's gravity. A single player is dragging a franchise into cultural relevance and pulling the league with her. You can dislike the framing and prefer egalitarian narratives, fair. But markets reveal preferences, and attention is the purest market we have. The receipts say what they say, no matter how badly critics wish otherwise. Reality resists spin when the delta yawns wide.
Fan want to tune in, and what did they do? Heard her, pushed her, went against her, and guess what? Now they at a pivotal moment right now because fans are leaving.
None of this means other teams weren't thriving. The Wings' year-over-year surge deserves credit. And yes, a huge part of modern engagement is personality. Sophie Cunningham's memeable swagger and sponsorship chops, hello Arby's, show how individual brand building can fortify a team's footprint. She is frequently among the most searched WNBA players because she understands how to play the internet, not just the game. Still, even with bright spots like that, the totals aren't close to the Fever. The distance remains massive, and that is the entire argument in miniature. Growth matters, but scale matters more when value gets quantified so plainly. Chicago finishing 5th will jar anyone who bought the two co-leads narrative wholesale. The conversation loved the symmetry, the spreadsheet did not. Nearly $49 million of differential value is not something you can bury beneath talking points. Some will argue Indianapolis simply executed better on social. Fair enough. STN Digital collaborated with the Fever on campaigns and strategy, which surely maximized returns. But even the sharpest tactics can't conjure demand from thin air. Demand drives supply, not the other way around, and the appetite for Caitlin Clark content is driving the entire flywheel right now. That is the uncomfortable truth. There's a bigger lesson the league has been slow to say out loud. Star power matters. Sports aren't civics classes. Fans fall in love with individuals, then follow the teams attached to them. They buy names on the back, schedule nights around signature players, and binge highlights of charismatic personalities. The WNBA has often pushed an egalitarian message, and elevating the whole matters. But growth accelerates when the biggest stars sit front and center. The Fever's data set is basically a blueprint for modern marketing, showing how one transcendent figure can lift everything around her when a franchise leans in decisively. From a business perspective, the leverage here is enormous. Walk into a sponsor meeting with 1 billion impressions and 40 million engagements and watch the temperature change. Brands don't want passive reach. They want communities that act, comment, and convert. The Fever can show that at scale today. That becomes larger deals, smarter partnerships, and better placement across channels. It also reframes how you think about roster construction and resource allocation. Protect the engine that powers else and fund the systems that amplify it. It sharpens compensation debates because quantifiable attention converts cleanly into negotiable value for teams and league. Which leads to the obvious. You do whatever it takes to keep the engine humming. Support the star. Build the team, the facilities, the content pipelines, the community programs, everything that strengthens the flywheel. Because losing that gravity would be a balance sheet catastrophe, not just a standings problem. The Aces finishing 3rd, despite winning and boasting multiple All-Stars, reminds us that banners alone don't drive the feed. Winning helps, but personality and resonance travel further. The Liberty, landing 4th, even in New York, underscores the same idea. Market size matters less than marketable personalities audiences actively choose to follow over time. Strip the emotion out, and the pattern snaps into focus. The league's growth wasn't spread like peanut butter, it was concentrated like a laser. The Fever sit 5 times higher than second.
Their content clears 1 billion impressions. Individual videos cross 6 figures in ad equivalent value. Those aren't broad-based metrics, they're outliers. For fans who said this from day one, the report reads like vindication. For those who insisted the lift was shared equally, the numbers supply a reality check. Caitlin Clark is operating in a different universe, and the smart teams will adapt, copy the playbook, and close distance.